Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. Out of ammo, out of time. I'm your host, as always, Krabby Terror 8, and here we are in episode 35 of the Investigator Games in season 2 with everybody's favourite academic, Miskatonic Professor Harvey Walters. Yes, and for those of you who are new to the channel, I welcome you. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it. And if you are brand new, what is the Investigator Games? Why do I call it that? Well, as many of you would know, it's like the Hunger Games. We take each investigator true solo through a scenario. Now, in Season 1, that was The Gathering. And in Season 2, it's the Midnight Masks. And we take them through true solo and we see how they do. Now, depending on how they do, they end up in a league table like this one. Now, this one has the carryover points from The Gathering. So if you haven't seen Harvey or indeed any of the other investigators go through their paces in The Gathering, I would very much recommend that you perhaps have a look at them there first. And then they would carry over the points here. Now, spoilers, if you are brand new to Arkham Horror, the card game, wow, you are lucky. There's so much to explore. It's such an awesome game. But I assume that you know a little bit about how to play. So if you're looking for introductory videos and you've never played the Midnight Masks either, I would really recommend that you do those things first. I'm assuming you know the Midnight Masks a little bit and that you know how to play at least a little bit. Not necessarily a lot, just a little bit. So yes, spoilers. Yes. Now, yes, we are here with Harvey Walters. And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to quickly go through his details, and then we'll go through his deck, and then we can see how he goes in the Investigator Games. The other thing I should add is that I've done an in-depth video of the Midnight Masks. I've probably played it, not necessarily played it more than anybody else, but at least I think publicly I probably played it more than anybody else. So I think I know it a bit. And so I would recommend, there's a link in the show notes to an in-depth analysis of the Midnight Mask. Everything, lore, story, strategy, the lot. So I'd recommend you have a look at that as well. Now, Harvey Walters was, like Nathaniel Cho, was one of the standalone investigators that was released by Fantasy Flight Games. Really fantastic series. We're going through them at the moment. They were standalone with their own decks, which means that their starter decks are more optimized than the other investigators. So they've got a little bit of an advantage, I think, from that perspective, but not too much, I don't think. So, yes, Harvey Walters is a seeker. So, not surprisingly, he's all about getting clues, and we can see that in his stat line. So, if we have a look at his stat line here, it's immediately clear he has a massive 5 intellect, which means getting clues, investigating locations, no big deal for Harvey Walters. He can do that pretty easily. And importantly as well, he has a pretty high willpower as well with a 4. So his ability to withstand the rigors of the encounter deck are also pretty good as well. So from that perspective, very strong. Now, the thing that makes Harvey Walters more challenging to play, particularly in solo, not necessarily so much in multiplayer, but particularly in solo, is his woeful 1 strength. So strength and fighting are not his thing at all. So, and also on top of that, it's not like he can run around and evade enemies either, because his agility is a very small 2 as well. So that makes Harvey a little bit challenging to play from a solo perspective, because he isn't so well balanced. Yes, there's some seekers who have, not necessarily a high strength. That's not really a seeker thing, but at least a high agility. And that means that if nothing else, they can evade enemies as they move around. But Harvey doesn't have that either. So that's going to be the challenge in the Midnight Masks, of course, is that if he gets beset by enemies, it's going to be game over for him. So it could go really, really, really well, or it could go really badly. And really the thing with Harvey is he's got to move fast and get around as quickly as he can. So that's his stat line. He's traded Miskatonic, which maybe in the future that might mean something, I don't know. But anyway, he's traded that. Now he has this reaction trigger. Harvey Walters is really all about card draw. And I think that kind of reflects he's a professor. He has lots of resources at his command in terms of books and knowledge. And that comes through in his special ability reaction trigger. After an investigator at your location, notice it's not after you, but an investigator at your location draws one or more cards from their deck during the investigation phase. That investigator draws a card, so you get to draw an additional card. Now, this is limited to once per round, so I can see why, because otherwise it could get out of control really quite fast. His Elder Sign effect is a +1, and it's another card draw. So what can happen actually is his Elder Sign can trigger with its standard +1. He draws a card, reaction trigger, draws another card. So the thing about Harvey is that lots of card drawing, so he should have lots of cards in his hand, and then there of course are cards and abilities, higher education, for example, that actually there's a benefit from having a full hand, a full deck of cards. So that's kind of his shtick, if you like. I have experience dealing with these sorts of horrors. Yes, Harvey, also iconic investigator in the general Call of Cthulhu, Arkham horror myth, kind of mythos. He was the sort of iconic sort of example investigator in the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game right back at the start. He's quite iconic from that perspective. He's pretty good with his physical and psychological strength. Very respectable 7 and an 8. So he's fairly robust given his relatively advanced age. He's pretty robust at withstanding both physical and psychological horrors at the same time. So that's pretty good. Now, if we have a look at Harvey's stats on the back, he takes a standard deck size, and like all these investigators, standard in terms of deck building options. No funny business here. Just seeker cards 0 to 5 and neutral cards 0 to 5. A couple of things here he has which don't count to his deck size as per usual. His special card is something called the Vault of Knowledge. Now, the Vault of Knowledge, it can only be in a Harvey Walters deck, of course. It's got the usual 3 pips on it. 1 always wild card, so that's standard. Your maximum hand size is increased by 2, so that means he can hold 10 cards if this is down on the table. It's a 3-cost asset, and it has a reaction trigger. After you successfully investigate, exhaust Vault of Knowledge, and choose an investigator at your location, that investigator draws a card. So that's synergistic with his special ability. So you can see, in a way, Harvey, whilst he can play solo, he's probably been designed in some senses to be a multiplayer investigator, which means he can support the rest of the team, not only in getting clues, but also drawing cards. So keeping everybody's hands nice and full of cards, which will make a very big difference. So he's like he would be in the world, I suppose, in the game world. He would be someone that people would be asking and drawing on for knowledge, and so that very much aligns with him. Very nice. Now he also has a weakness here: Thrice Damned Curiosity. Now, Thrice Damned Curiosity is his signature weakness. It's a treachery weakness. Revelation, for every 3 cards in your hand take a damage. So it's just a one-off damage hit. It's not too bad, you know. It's going to be two couple of points of damage, and he can tank a bit of damage. So it's not the end of the world. I mean, it could come at a really, really bad time, I suppose, if you're really teetering on the edge. And in the Midnight Masks, there is a lot of damage to be taken, so it could be a problem. But most of the time, it's not going to be a big issue. It doesn't stop you. You don't lose any time, so that's good. So that's his signature weakness. Now, the other weakness that Harvey has in the deck is the weakness that came with his pack. It's called Obsessive. It is a basic weakness. You put it into your threat area, and when your turn begins, discard 1 non-weakness card at random from your hand, and you can use 2 actions, the classic 2 actions to get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, discarding 1 non-weakness card at random from your hand, most of the time, that's not going to be a massive problem for Harvey. He might be drawing multiple cards and things, so, you can probably wear this weakness, at least for a couple of turns if you have to, depending on what card you've got in your hand. And it's not uncommon to have 10 or more cards in the hand of Harvey, so losing a card each turn is not a big deal. So his weakness is not terrible, but it's whether you want to really waste time. Now, in the Midnight Masks, wasting time is a problem, and so it might be better just to lose the card rather than losing 2 turns. So there we go. There's his sort of there's his signature cards and weaknesses. So just a bit about him. Professor Walters began as a devotee of the archaic and obscure, but over the years he has discovered that his knowledge of ancient language, profane relics, and strange rituals is vital to addressing dangers in the modern day. He is both an avid collector of prehistoric ephemera and a fount of knowledge regarding the bizarre primordial religions that worshipped nightmarish gods eons ago. There is perhaps no sane person alive who knows more about the occult than Harvey. When a supernatural event occurs, Professor Walters brings his considerable resources and experience to bear. Indeed he does. There we go. So that's him in a nutshell. Now, if we have a look at his deck, like I said, this was the standard starter deck that came with Harvey Walters, much more optimized than the other investigators, but lacking some of the sort of neutral skills that the others might have had. Now, he did, spoilers, get 6 experience points from the gathering, which was great. And so really it was about what do we do with that to optimize his deck. Now, there's a couple of things that I did. One of the things that we just talked about was his ability to fight, which is very limited, but unfortunately in the Midnight Masks, it's either evasion or fight, so that it is necessary that he has the ability to do some fighting, I'm afraid. Otherwise, he is really going to be in trouble. I could have gone down the path of putting in, a couple of skills that would have allowed him to, evade, that kind of thing. But that felt like that was a more limited approach, because already in the deck are 2 Occult Invocations, which are a 2-cost event, and you play it. You discard 2 cards from your hand, you fight, you use intellect. So you get +1 intellect and +1 damage for each card discarded. So you can end up doing 3 points of damage with Occult Invocation. So there's 2 of those in there. And in addition, I put in 2, I've got a plan, upgraded. So these are the upgraded versions. They also allow you to fight with intellect. You get +2 and you deal +1 damage for each clue you have. So this would allow you to do +3 damage. So again, if we get something like I've got a plan, we can set ourselves up so that we can take out the Ghoul Priest, because that would allow us to do 4 points of damage all in one hit. So if we've got I've got a plan on Occult Invocation in hand, we can take out the Ghoul Priest. So that's what I'm hoping. So that's what I've put into the deck. The other thing that took up 4 experience points to do that, and then the other thing I put in was 2 shortcuts, and I put in the shortcuts for obvious reasons. The shortcuts allow us to zing around, move to a connecting location. They're not permanent like the upgraded versions, but it's better to have those. It just allows us that extra movement. Very flexible card, can be used in all kinds of ways, so I thought that was good as well. We took out the Forbidden Tome. Yeah, the Forbidden Tome translated, that's all great, but we didn't do that in the Gathering. So I just don't have time in the Midnight Mask to be spending secrets and doing all that kind of carry on, so I took those out. And I took out Cryptic Writings. Yeah, gaining 2 resources and all that kind of thing, that's good, but I just felt that we really needed other things, so took out the Cryptic Writings. I suppose I could have put in Dr. Malign Christopher instead of the Laboratory Assistant, for example, or Witten Green, for example. I could have put in Malign Christopher, but to be honest, I really wanted to really push up our ability to fight. So if we can draw enough cards and we can do that, then we will be right. And to be honest, that's really what I'm going to be focused on, because if we get to the Masked Hunter and we can't fight him, we're going to be in a very difficult situation. So I'm hoping that we can do that. And indeed, we may need some fight cards, because otherwise, if we get lots and lots of cultists, like we seem to have been getting in recent times, then we're going to run out of time as well. So yeah, it really, like I said, things could go really well for Harvey, or they could go horrifically badly, depending on how things go in the Midnight Masks. It can run either way. So I had a chat to Harvey in the trailer before we started this morning. Thank you again to Miskatonic Trailers for their hire and their sponsorship of the Midnight Masks. And we had a chat about various things. Harvey was surprised how well he did in the Gathering. He is hoping that he can do well here as well, but he's not holding up much hope, because he knows the Masked Hunter. He knows what a tough cookie he is, and so he's concerned about him as well. So there we go. So I think we're reasonably ready to get going here in the Midnight Masks. I don't think there's anything else. We've just got to wait for the horn to go off. Harvey is walking around the house. He's looking at the for sale sign, wondering, I don't know whether he's interested in buying it, but he's doing that. He's waiting. Crowd is waiting as well. So let's just read out the act and the agenda deck while we wait. Agenda 1A, Predator or Prey. Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake the feeling that you two are being hunted. Resign. You don't want to risk too long, so you head to safety with the information you've gathered. I wonder if anybody's resigned in the first 6 turns. I can't imagine why you would. I guess if you were nearly dead. Uncovering the conspiracy, you have 1 night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. Investigators spend 2 clues per investigator as a group. Draw the top card of the cultist deck. Find as many unique cultist enemies as you can and add them to the victory display. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, advance. Now, I didn't make the point that Leo is topping the table at the moment. Managed to get 5 cultists, did very well. Well, he had Leo DeLuca on board, which helps. So there we go. So there it is. There is the horn, and Harvey waves to the crowd who cheer. And we are ready to start episode 35 of the Investigator Games. Okay, so what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Well, we definitely want a ally, like a Witten Green. That would be great. So we want that. And like I said, we need the look what I found. Look what I found. No, not look what I found. I've got a plan or invocation. We need those as well. So if we can get those, Occult Invocation, then I think I'll be pretty happy. So let's draw many. Let's draw many. 5 cards, and let's see what we get. Well, we can't have a weakness, so we'll bring something else out here. So there's Occult Invocation. That's great. So we've got that. We have also... now this card, Disc of its Amna, is actually really good because this could really help if we get a Hunting Night Gaunt. It just means we can automatically evade it and deal it some damage. Higher Education is good if you've got 5 or more cards in hand. A Laboratory Assistant, so that's an ally. Maximum here is, and you draw 2 cards. Maximum hand size is increased by 2, so that's really nice as well. So I'm pretty, and Deduction, which allows us to discover a couple of clues. So I'm pretty happy with that. We've got an Occult Invocation, so we've already got that to start with. The main issue is going to be having enough money to spend some of these things. But I'm pretty happy, I have to say, with what we've got. And I think I'm going to stick with what we've got. And see how we go. Okay, so what are we going to do? So the first action, I'm going to spend 2, and I'm going to bring out the Laboratory Assistant. So now we have a maximum hand size. I'm going to change this because it does make a difference about when it triggers. So our maximum hand size is increased by 2. After Laboratory Assistance enters play, draw 2 cards. So we get 2 cards. We get Feed the Mind, which is drawing more cards, and draw 3 cards. Now, actually, I've just realized after an Investigator location draws 1 or more cards, draw a card. So we get to draw another card and we get shortcut. Look at this. We already have 7 cards in our hand and we've only just started. Well, we've already done that. I better just put a little, because you can only do this once per round. So I'm just going to make sure that I don't over-egg the sandwich there. So there we go. That was our first action. That's our first action. Look, we've already got a hand size of 7. That's just brilliant. Second action, I don't want to draw a Hunting Night Gaunt at the beginning and then have no way of dealing with it. So I'm going to bring out the disc because that's really important that we do that. So that if we do get that, it won't work on cultists because they always spawn at another location. So it really is to avoid the Hunting Night Gaunt. Okay, so that's our second action. Now for our third action, I'm going to avail myself of the facilities and draw a resource and a card. Now we can't draw another card, we've already done that, but we draw a card and we get Burning the Midnight Oil. Nice. When this action begins, gain 2 resources, that's good. And we get a resource, so that's good. Okay, so there we go. So pretty good. The, good start. We've got lots and lots of cards. The only thing we don't have is one of those I've got a plan, and I'm hoping we draw into that because then I'll feel comfortable that we can probably take on the Ghoul Priest. Okay, so that's a pretty good start for Harvey. Let's move into the enemy phase, or yes, the enema phase as we call it. Now, of course, there are no enemies or enemas to speak of. So we will move into upkeep and we get Arcane Enlightenment. Your maximum hand size is increased by 1. You have additional hand slot, which you can use for a tome asset. Well, at the moment, we've got no tomes. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting, but not really a priority at the moment. All right, so let's move into the Mythos phase. The first Doom is down. Let's see what the Encounter deck has. The Encounter deck has... Gee, we just seem to be getting lots of these at the moment. Acolyte. Now, where am I going to put this? I don't want to. I mean, I could use Occult Invocation to kill it, but the problem with that is then we're going to be, using things that we need. So I'm going to put him here, and I'm just going to wear the doom, I'm afraid, and hopefully we can move fast in terms of getting what we need. Yeah, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but it's just, it is what it is. If we get plenty of Occult Invocation type cards, then happy days. But yeah. Okay, so this is once per round. So we're into a new round, so we can take that out. Investigation phase. Okay. 3 actions onto Harvey. What are we going to do here? Well, I think we just go ahead and investigate. Now we are at a 5 and it's a 2, so we're 3 up. We're 3 up. Draw cards. No, I think we try. I think the main thing is to get clues. At the moment, we need to do that quickly. So, yeah, I think so. Because we could bring this out, but I just don't think we need higher education at the moment. But when this action begins, gain 2 resources. We will play Burning the Midnight Oil. It's a 0 cost event. Investigate when this, right, gain 2 resources. So we'll get 2 resources. And we will investigate a 2 versus a 5. A 2 versus a 5. We get a skull, which is a -1, so we succeed. That's our first action. Now I am going to actually play shortcut because I want to speed things up, and I'm going to move to Rivertown. Flip that. So that was a fast action using shortcut. Yep. So we are now here at Rivertown. So let's go ahead and investigate. So it's a 1 versus a 5. Okay, 1 versus 5. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so of course we succeed. So that's a second clue. And then for our third action, let's spend the 2 clues. And let's have a look what we get. Let's hope we don't get Wolfman Drew. Who do we get? Wolfman Drew. That's not who we wanted, but anyway, that's okay. So there we go. There was our 3 actions. So we got the clue at the house. We shortcutted to the Rivertown. We got the clue there. And we brought out Wolfman Drew. So next time, I'm actually thinking I get to the graveyard and deduct and get the 2 clues there, and maybe draw some cards. See if we can draw into I've Got a Plan. Okay, there we go. So not bad. We move into enemy phase. Yep, here's what it is. Mythos phase, we get another disc. Well, that's good, because if this disc goes down, we've got another one if we need it. Because you have to discard it. So we've got another one if we need it. There we go. All right. So we will move into the Mythos. There are 3 Doom. We're halfway through already. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got False Lead. If you have no clues, I don't. Okay. So we will go from the encounter deck. Winds of Darkness, test 4. If you fail, take a damage in horror and go to a central location. Well, that's where we are. We've really got no capacity. We're just going to fail this. Let's go ahead. And we get an auto fail anyway. So we take a damage and a horror. Let's put them on. I want to keep that at the moment. So we'll take the damage and the horror. Or maybe we put, it doesn't matter. We'll take the damage and the horror and we stay where we are. Okay, so let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Harvey. All right, let's get moving here. So let's so we got a choice here. We could go in. Actually, we could go into the graveyard and get the 2 clues there, Or we could go to Miskatonic University. I'm actually, yeah, maybe we should go to Miskatonic University instead. Or maybe not. I'm just trying to think, what's the best thing to do? I think we need it to be as easy as possible. So I am going to move into the graveyard. Yeah. 2 clues on the graveyard. Test 3, 2 horror, I'll move to Rivertown. Well, we are a 4. Let's make that a 6. A 6 versus a 3. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so we succeed. Now for my second action, I'm going to spend 2, and I'm going to play Preposterous Sketches. Play if there's a clue at your location. So I draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. And I draw an extra card for... So there we go. We didn't get I've Got a Plan from all that, which is unfortunate. But lots of other things, including another laboratory assistant. So Solano Fragrance is good. Gives you extra intellect, which would be great to have down. But right now, what we're going to do is, for our final action, we're going to investigate using deduction. So we are a 6 versus a 1. I'm going to play Burn the Midnight Oil, so I get, because it's when your action begins, investigate, take 2 resources. So that's another 2 resources. And it's a 1 versus a 6. Chaos Bag gives us a -3, so of course we succeed. So we get both clues. There we go. Very nice. Okay, so that all went... Oh, and because of that, we get the victory point, and the crowd goes wild. There we go. So we've got our first victory point. That all happened pretty fast. So that was really good. We went into the graveyard. We didn't take any horror. We then used Preposterous Sketches to draw 4 cards. And then we were able to get the 2 clues using deduction. So next time we can bring out the next cultist, and hopefully it's someone we can get. Still no I've Got a Plan. But hopefully they'll pop up soon. So we move into the enemy phase. Okay, so we move into the upkeep phase, and we get another Feed the Mind. Okay, still no... where are they? The cards we need. Anyway. Okay, so we move into the Mythos phase. There are now 4 Doom down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Oh, it's got Mysterious Chanting. 2 Doom on the nearest cultist enemy. Okay, well this is bad, because that means it's going to flip next time. So, that's bad. So we've got to really, really try and get I've Got a Plan. Okay. All right. That's, 3 actions onto Harvey. Because this Occult Invocation, discard 2 cards, we can do that. We use Intellect. So we would be running at a 6, +1 damage for each... Yeah, that's fine. So we would do +2, we'd do 3 points. That's half. But we either need another Occult Invocation, or we need a I've Got a Plan. So we need one of those 2 cards. And at the moment, we don't have either. Now, Preposterous Sketches is play only if there is a clue at your location. So we don't have a clue. So, boy. So this allows us... So there are a couple of things we could do. We could just draw a card and draw another card. Or we can bring out another laboratory assistant and draw 3 cards. But if we draw a card and draw a second card, and that doesn't work, then we can play Laboratory Assistant and draw another 2. That gives us 4 cards, doesn't it? Is it 6 of one and half a dozen of the other? Yeah, it is. Which is best to do? Well, we might draw into it. So let's, for the first action, Let's draw a card. Whoops. What did we draw then? So we draw, we get a deduction, and then we can draw again. We get an encyclopedia. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to spend 2. This is my second action. I'm going to spend 2. And I'm going to bring out the laboratory assistant, which means we lose the other laboratory assistant. But in the process, we get to draw 2 cards. So we'll draw another 2 cards. We get a shortcut. And we get an occult invocation. Okay, great. Right, good. But we're a bit low on the old... So we've got 1 action left. Okay, we've got 1 action left. What do we do here? So these occult invocations are both going to take 2 each. I'm actually thinking the Ciliano fragments would be good to have. It only costs 1, and what it will mean is we then we get a +1 for having so many cards in our hand. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend 1. And I'm going to bring out Solano fragments for my third action. So we've done everything we can to really fight this Mass Hunter. So we're now running at a 6. Yeah, so hopefully, with all of this, we should be okay. So, here we're going to lose something. So we're going to move into the enemy phase. Then we're going to move into upkeep. And it's at upkeep, isn't it? So we are going to lose a card. So is there a card we can throw in? We can't play a card, but I could play shortcut. Yeah, I might play shortcut and just get ourselves out of Rivertown so that we don't drop any clues there. And we're going to lose a card anyway, so that makes sense. Okay, so we played shortcut. Yeah, it's a fast action during our turn, so before the end of our turn, we play shortcut. So there we go. So I think we've done everything. So we drew a card, we drew another card. We then played Laboratory Assistant and drew another card, and we got the Ciliano fragment. We draw 2 cards, sorry. Laboratory Assistant. We then brought out Solano fragments for 1, and then we played shortcut because we're going to lose a card anyway. But luckily our hand size is at 10, so we should be okay. All right, move into enemy phase. No enemies to worry about. We move into upkeep. Okay, hand size is 10. Good. Okay, let's... Okay, we move into the Mythos phase, and of course, all these Doom. We haven't got any cultists yet. This is, well, hopefully we can get one now. So there we go. There's all the Doom. We flip this card, and we get the good old Mass Hunter. Hello, Harvey. Oh, I see you've got an assistant with you. Okay, we've got a disc on you. You've got the Ciliano fragments. Silly. That's not going to be enough. Unless you've got some sort of silly invocations, you are doomed. Little does he know. All right, so let's bring this out. Time is running short. Agenda 2A, we have got 8 turns from here, so running out of time. There we go. And everything is not over because we now have to draw from the encounter deck. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And the encounter deck has Obscuring Fog attached to your location. All right, well, that's no big deal. Whoops, flip it, put it to the back. So thank goodness we didn't get a Hunting Night Gaunt, but we could have dealt with the Hunting Night Gaunt anyway. Okay, let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Harvey. Okay, let's take this dude out. So we have a hand size of 10. which means we are running at +1 intellect, +1 willpower. So we're at 6 intellect. So we're going to spend 2. And we're going to bring out Occult Invocation. As an additional cost, discard up to 2 cards from your hand. Well, we want to do that. So which cards shall we get rid of? I think these feed the mind, so we'll get rid of those. So that's 2 cards, which means we're down to 7, but that's all right. Fight. This attack uses intellect. Okay, so we're at we'll get a +1, so we're at 6 intellect. And you get +1 and do +1 damage for each card discarded. So we get +2 intellect and we do +2 damage. So we're running at a 5, a 6, an 8. 8 versus 4, so we're 4 up. And if we succeed, we will do 3 points of damage, half his damage. So here we go. Now we're 4 up, so there's no point putting in any other cards. Let's see what the Chaos Bag is. And we get an Elder Sign. Wow. So we do our 3 points of damage. Ow! Where did that come from? You bloody Occult Invocation! There we go. And we get to draw a card. Now, because it's not our turn... Yeah, we're not in the... Oh, we are in the investigation phase. What am I talking about? We get to draw another card. So we get to draw 2 cards. Wow, that's good. Oh, we do have I've got a plan here. Okay, so that was our first action. Now, we've got a choice here. We could use Mind Over Matter. Sorry, I keep calling it that. I've got a plan. So this attack uses intellect. You get +2, and you deal +1 damage for each clue you have. Well, I've got 2 clues. So this one would give us +2 intellect, and it would do the +3 damage for each clue you have. Sorry, we've got 2 clues. So we would do +2. So that would do the 3. So actually, and we wouldn't have to discard any cards in the process. So that's great. So let's do that. Let's spend the 2. It's not to the end of the... No. So we will spend 2, and we will bring out... I've got a plan. So intellect here, we get +2, so we are running at a 5, 6, 8. Again, an 8 versus 4. We've got 2 clues, so we will do +2 damage, which means we'll do 3 points of damage. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so we succeed. And the Mars Hunter dies and goes down, and the crowd goes wild. That was just incredible. Occult Invocation, and then we'd electrified the doorway, and so the Mars Hunter didn't realise, backed into it, and electrocuted himself and died. Wow, that was just amazing. So we've got 1 action left. I can't believe it. So we're doing really, really well, even though time is... So what I'm going to do for my final action, I think is pretty obvious. I'm going to spend the 2 clues, and we will have a look and see who the next cultist is. And we get Herman Collins. Well, that's easy for us because discard 4 cards. We have got so many cards. That's perfectly fine. So we will go and grab him next time. So there we go. What a round. So we... used Occult Invocation to do 3 points of damage. We got an Elder Sign, which means we drew more cards. Then I've got a plan, and we did another 3 points of damage, and we got rid of the Mouse Hunter, and then we brought out Herman Collins. So things are going well. Let's move into the enemy phase. No enemies doing anything. No enemies to speak of. Can we... Oh, Wolfman Drew. We could take on Wolfman Drew now. The only problem is we've only got 1 Occult Invocation. So if we get the other I've got a plan, we can go and take him on. I can't believe Harvey can do that, but anyway. Upkeep, we get extensive research. Yeah, for each card in your hand, discover 2 clues at your location. Fantastic. Okay, so we can use that. Very nice. Okay. I think that's everything. Okay, so we will move into the Mythos phase. And one Doom is down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. The encounter deck has Crypt Chill. Crypt Chill. Test 4. Well, we are 4. Are we 5? No, we only have 9 cards. So it's a 4 for us 2. 4 versus 4. I think we make that a 6. A 6 versus a 4. Do we do anything else? Do we... Would it matter if we lost the Solano fragments? We've got another one. So you know what? Let's just make it a 6 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -2, so we succeed, don't we? 4, 5, 6. 6 versus 4, so fine. No problem. Okay, let's move into the investigation phase. So, 3 actions. This is going to be pretty easy for us. Now, we could go to Miskatonic University, but the problem is we've only got 1 resource, and yeah, I think we're better off, you know, bird in the hand, all that. So I think the best thing to do is to move back into the graveyard. So we'll move back into the graveyard, test 3, and we are a 4. 3 versus 4. Do we use... look, if we have to take some horror, it'd be not the end of the world. So 3 versus 4, we're fine. Second action, so Herman Collins is here. Second action, we will get rid of 4 cards. Which 4 should we get rid of? Probably that one. 1. We've already got Solano, so 2. We'll keep the disc. 3, 4. So we'll get rid of 4 cards, and Herman Collins goes into the victory display, and the crowd goes wild. And for our final action, I think we draw a card. Have we already done this? No, we haven't. So we'll draw a card, and we get to draw another card. Yeah, because the last time we did it was when we did an Elder Sign, which was during our last... Yep. So there we go. We got 2 cards. All right. So there we go. So we, what we'll do next time is we'll pop over to Miskatonic University, use deduction, and hopefully get 2 clues, which will allow us to bring out the next cultist. Okay. So we will move into the enemy phase. There are no enemies that are doing anything. So we move into upkeep. We get Witten Green. Okay. Bit late for Witten, I think. All right, let's move into the Mythos phase. 2 Doom are down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got another Wings of Darkness. Test 4. Oh, we're just going to have to fail this again. Let's see what the encounter deck is. 0. So we still fail, I'm afraid. We go back to... There you go. Actually, that was worked out quite well. We'll put a horror onto the laboratory assistant, and we take another damage. So actually, that wasn't too bad. It actually got us to a better place. So actually, I don't mind that at all. Investigation phase, 3 actions onto Harvey. First action, let's move to Miskatonic University. Yep. Second action, let's investigate. So we are investigating at a 5, a 6. A 6 versus a 4. A 6 versus a 4. Well, let's make that an 8. Actually, we want to use deduction, so let's make that a 7. Oh, let's just make that a 9. A 9 versus a 4. Chaos Bag gives us a -1, so we succeed. We get both clues. That's great. So that was our second action. And the crowd goes wild as we get another victory point. And then I think what we do is, do we draw and draw, or do we bring out the cultist? I'm actually thinking we bring out the cultist. Let's do that. So for our final action, we'll spend another 2 clues. Whoops. And we will bring out the next cultist, who is... I thought it might be Ruth Turner. Ruth Turner. Now, Ruth Turner is going to be a problem for us because 5. Yeah. We got Encyclopedia, but that would only give us a 4. I don't think we can only fight her. We could do 3 points of damage with Occult Invocation, but yeah, that wouldn't be enough. So unfortunately, it's very difficult to deal with her. So, and if we have I've Got a Plan on board, we can take on her or Wolfman Drew. Doesn't really matter. Probably her better than Wolfman Drew. So hopefully we might draw into our other I've Got a Plan. I mean, and the other interesting thing is we haven't had any of our weaknesses, so they're going to pop up real soon. Enemy phase, no enemies to worry about. And speaking of which, put it into play. When your turn begins, discard a card. Okay. So we will move into the Mythos phase. 3 actions onto Harvey. Now, what do we do here? Well, we lose a card for a start, so we've got to lose one of these cards. We'll take Witten Green out. Okay, first action. I'm actually going to draw 2 cards. 1, 2, and we got I Got a Plan. There we go. Yeah, we just lose a card. Discard, yeah. Okay, and we're up to 6 cards again, which means we still get +1. So that was our first action. Yeah, we can't move down and kill Ruth Turner, but we could tank some damage, couldn't we? So we could move down. I've got to plan her. Oh, each clue you have. I've got 1 clue. So maybe we should get some... Or we could just use Occult Invocation. No, that's not going to be enough. What I might do is for my second action, I might move up to north side. And for my third action, I think I'm going to investigate 3 versus 6. 3 versus 6. Let's just go ahead and do that. Chaos Bag gives me a 0, so I get that clue. Yeah, so we've got to decide what we're going to do. So I could move in and actually kill Wolfman Drew next time. Or, well, I'll go get the clue anyway. And then maybe kill Wolfman Drew. And then all we would have left is... Well, actually, maybe we should... Yeah, because we might get Peter Warren, but with only 1 more clue here. Yeah, I don't know. I've got to think about it. Anyway, that's what we did. So we basically... what did we do? We drew a card. We moved to north side. And then we investigated. Okay, let's move into the enemy phase. No enemies do anything. Let's move into upkeep. Get our Vault of Knowledge. Okay. No, still not going to be enough. I was thinking, could we use Encyclopedia and Vault of Knowledge to get Ruth Turner, but probably unlikely. All right. Okay, we are halfway through. We're running out of time. We're in the Mythos phase. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Whoop. And it's got a Hunting Night Gaunt. Okay, so there we go. So we discard the disc, automatically evade it. And do 2 points of damage. There we go. So thank goodness we had that disc there. Okay, let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions on to Harvey. Now, this is where things get difficult because it's like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? There's so many things we could do. First of all, we lose a card. Discard a card. Yep. Okay, we'll discard a card. Okay, so we got 3 actions. So now we could move and we could fight Wolfman Drew, but the problem with that is that we've only got 3 resources and we would actually need 4 to kill him. Yeah. And we don't want to stay here. Oh, we're going to be wasting time again. And I don't want to keep drawing cards because we're going to get our weakness and that's going to give us damage. So what I might do is I might spend 2. No. Oh, this is really tough to know what to do. So we've got some options. We could take a resource. And move to Miskatonic University. Well, we should get this. We should get this victory point. That's the first thing we should do. Because, yeah, so let's get the victory point. So we've again got another victory point. Let's move to Miskatonic University. And play the disc, maybe. Oh, no, because then we can't use these. And then draw a resource. So then we can kill Ruth Turner. Yep. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, first of all, investigate. So 3 versus a 6. 3 versus 6. Let's just go ahead. 3 versus 6. Elder sign. So we succeed. Yay. And because we succeeded, we draw a card, which means we might as well draw the other card. There we go. So we got that. Thrice damned. For every 3 cards in your hand, take a damage. So we take 2 damage. Take 2 damage. Did we discard a card? Yes, we did. And we drew an extra card. We've got no, so we take a horror as well because we have exhausted our deck, and we shuffle the whole lot back in. Okay, so that was our first action, and we get the victory point, and the crowd goes wild. Then we will move. We will move to Miskatonic University. Unfortunately, we don't have 4 clues. Otherwise, we could bring out. Because Peter Warren, it's either going to be Peter Warren or it's going to be. So what I might do is I'm going to take a resource because we're going to need a resource. Because either way, we're going to need 5 resources, or we are going to. Yeah. So that's what we'll do. So there we go. So not much happened that time. We got the victory point at Northside. We moved down to Miskatonic University and we took a resource. We also took some damage and horror because of various things. We'll keep this. This is obsessive, is no big deal. Just discard 1 non-weakness card at random from your... Oh, at random. Oops. I should read these cards. Okay. Oh, well, sorry, my bad. We will just assume that that was random. We move into the enemy phase. No enemies do anything. So we move into upkeep. And we got, we've now got 2 I Got a Plans, and we've got Occult Invocation. We've got the whole lot. So we can really fight. That's good. Yes, let's move into the upkeep phase, the Mythos phase. 5 doom down. Time is running short. Oh, we get Hunting Shadow. You must either spend a clue or take 2 damage. Yeah, Yeah, I'll take the 2. I think I'm going to spend the clue. Yep. Sorry, but I don't want to take any more damage. Okay. We move into the investigation phase. A random discard this time. Oh, there we go. The card we didn't want to lose. I've got a plan, but that's all right. Okay, so let's 3 actions onto Harvey. First action, let's go and bash up Ruth Turner or invocate Ruth Turner. Here we go. Yep. Oh, we can heal damage here too. So Ruth Turner. Okay. So second action, let's spend 2. Bring out, I've got a plan. Tack uses that, so you get +2 for the test, +1 damage for each clue you have. So we can do +2. So we will do 3 points of damage to her, and we are running at a 6. A 6 versus a 2. Chaos Bag gives us +1, so we do 3 points of damage. Very nice. Final action, we'll spend 2. And we will bring out Occult Invocation. Discard 2 cards from your hand. Do we need to discard 2 cards from our hand? Well, we're running at a 6 versus a 2 anyway. And we just need to do 1 point. So we won't discard any cards. Oh, do you have to? Oh, you have to. So let's discard a card. Encyclopedia. Maybe Witten Green. There we go. So we're running at a 7. No, we're not running at a 7 now, but we're running at a 6. A 6 versus a 2. 6 versus a 2. Chaos Bag gives us -1. So there we go. Ruth Turner goes into the discard, the cultist deck, and the crowd goes wild. Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so there we go. That's really good. So what we did was we moved down into St. Mary's Hospital. We used Occult Invocation, and I've got a plan, and we managed to get Ruth Turner. So hopefully, I'm going to try to draw into hopefully Peter Warren, because we've got no clues. So we're a bit snookered here because we've got, oh boy. Yeah, so enemy phase, the Hunting Night Gaunt moves down. Oh boy. Upkeep, we get another laboratory assistant. This is not looking good. Oh boy. Okay, and then we move into the Mythos phase 6. Let's see what the encounter deck has, and it's got another Acolyte. Let's just put that in the house with the Doom. So that's 7. It's gonna flip over next time. Ah, boy, oh boy. That's really, things just, wow. Okay. Okay. Investigation phase 3 actions onto Harvey. Now it's whether we can do anything in this final, we've literally, yeah, because there's 7, it's literally got 1 turn left. So we could bring out either Peter Warren or what's the lady called at Northside? I can't remember her name. Just off the top of my head. She just escapes me. So we could do that, but the problem is we don't have enough clues to go and get Peter Warren. We don't have enough to fight Peter Warren. We've got no more fight. Actually, we're supposed to randomly discard as well, aren't we? Yep. Okay. I'm not sure what we can do, because it's not like we can get any more victory points from where we are. I feel like there's not much we can do now. If we'd had obviously 4 clues, we could see whether we got Peter Warren, but we can't. And we don't have enough resources, so we could, yeah, no. Unfortunately, we've lost a turn, so it's not like we could do something. So I'm not really sure there's much we can do from here. I think the best thing to do is for us to resign. I really can't see what much more we can do here. Just trying to think. No. Okay, we're going to resign. So there we go. Harvey resigns. The crowd cheers. Harvey waves. What an effort. Turn 11. We're only into turn 11. So we had a few more dooms than most, so it went very quickly. But even though it's only turn 11, we managed to get only 3 cultists, but we got 4, 5, 6, 7 victory points. Harvey did really, really well and really quite fast. If we hadn't gotten so much doom, we may have got another cultist, because we could have got more resources, and we could have then use those resources to either buy clues or so things just didn't quite work out the way that we would hoped. But we took out the Masked Hunter, which was amazing, and I'm really proud of Harvey for doing that. He did a really good job. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Now, next time on the Investigator Games, it will be time for Winifred Habermock. Yes, Winifred Habermock. It will be time for her to go through the Midnight Mask, so I'm very much looking forward to that. But until then, I'm Krabby Terror 8. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye. Why am I saying 10? No, 7. I don't know why I thought it was 10. That's very strange. I'm sorry about that. It's actually 7. Oh, maximum hand size. No. Maximum hand size is 8, isn't it? Of course it's 10.